Well, alright everyone, I like to do this video 2 or 3 times a year to kind of give you an update of what's in my wallet, how I use each one of these credit cards, and how I try to maximize my spend categories to make sure I'm getting the most amount of points possible to then exchange those for some awesome travel and some other auxiliary things. So without further ado, let's talk about what's in my wallet and leave some comments down below of what your number one card is in your wallet before we get started. Let's get into it. So between my wife and I, we have about 12 or 13 credit cards that we kind of rotate around to see what the best spend categories would be, but for the most part, we keep it all digital. As you can see right here, this is my wallet, and in my physical wallet, I usually only carry my ID and then 2 credit cards, with 1 credit card being a card that we're going to kind of reach a minimum spend for some sort of sign-up bonus. So we're going to start off with the cards that are physically in my wallet, and then we'll talk about some of the cards that I still use on a day-to-day or at least a week-to-week basis that I use for my digital wallet. So let me know again also with a comment down below, are you team digital wallet or team physical credit cards? So let's start off with my Chase Sapphire Reserve. I just want to touch on the main factors of why I use it, and then I do have some follow-up videos down below if you guys want to see an in-depth walkthrough. So with my Chase Sapphire Reserve, it is a $550 annual fee card that gets quickly offset by $300 with that $300 travel credit, which can be used on any sort of travel, whether it is some flight, hotel, or even subway transportation or public transport. But what I personally use this card for is going to be dining and then some other kind of miscellaneous things that maybe don't have a category from time to time. But this is my dedicated dining card, and you'll see that I do have the gold card, which gives you 4x as opposed to 3x, but I value my 3x points from this Chase Sapphire Reserve a little bit higher because it can transfer to hotel partners like Hyatt. So this is my card that's always with me at all times, and it's probably my most used and my favorite card in my wallet. Another card that I have with me at all times is gotta be the Capital One Venture X card, and this one is a $395 annual fee card. So as of right now, we're almost at $1,000 already just for the first 2 cards that I mentioned. But what I like about this one is that it also has a $300 travel credit, but this one has to be used through the Capital One portal, as opposed to the Chase one can be used in any which way. But we can still maximize this and get $300 worth of travel towards a hotel or a flight to the portal. But what I like about this the most is twofold, right? It's the easiest annual fee card to offset because, like I said, you get the $300 travel credit, and then you also get a 10,000 mile anniversary bonus at the end of your anniversary year, meaning that you get a minimum of $400 worth of value for travel while spending $395 for this card, meaning you have a $5 effective annual fee that they're paying you to hold on to this card. You also get things like Priority Pass, similar to the Chase Sapphire Reserve, but the biggest thing for me with this one is that it's going to be my catch-all card. This is a 2x on any single category, any time of the week, any time in the day. So if there is a spend category that isn't met, like let's say a dining or a grocery or rent, if it falls under some other random category, I'm using this card to make sure that I'm maximizing at 2 cents per point. Now, as I said, I'm usually always going towards some sort of sign-up bonus, and that's actually a different video that I made about a reason why I might be canceling something like the American Express Gold. But right now, the spend that I'm going towards is going to be for the Chase Business Preferred card. I was able to find that 120k sign-up bonus, which I still think is around as of recording this video, but it might be ending relatively soon, so jump on it if you can. Now, this is a business card, so again, for those people that think you need some sort of big LLC or you need to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue, you actually do not at all. You can apply for this card under your personal social security number as a sole proprietorship as long as you're making some sort of side money, whether it is walking a dog, Ubering, or maybe even selling things on eBay. So you can actually do that. I applied for this card. This is a $95 annual fee card. For a 120k sign-up bonus, to me is a no-brainer. Now, the minimum spend on a business card is a bit higher than these personal cards, but this one is $8,000 over the span of 3 months. So as of right now, when we get cards like this one, all of our spend, no matter what category it is, goes on this card until we meet that minimum spend, and then we go back to our normal categories. So this is what I'm currently going for. We're about 2 months in, and I believe we only need another $1,000 or $1,500 to reach this minimum spend. And again, I'm spending on this card normally. I'm not overspending. I'm not trying to spend more just to reach that minimum spend. I'm spending normally and putting it on this card to reach that minimum spend because a 120k sign-up bonus is pretty unheard of in the Chase world. But once I'm done with this sign-up bonus, this card will probably not get used too much, and if anything, I might downgrade it to one of those Chase Ink Unlimited cards so there is no actual annual fee for this. So for right now, $95 to exchange for 120k points, for me, is definitely worth it. Now, the next card I'm going to bring up is going to be that American Express Gold card. So unfortunately, American Express did up the ante in terms of the annual fee from $250 to $325, which is kind of annoying, and the only thing that they really added was a Resi credit for $50 once every 6 months, so you do get $100 towards Resi restaurants, which is nice, because again, where I am, there's a bunch of Resi restaurants, but somewhere else in the country, there might not be any Resi restaurants, so that could be a wash. And then they also added a $7 a month Dunkin' Donuts credit, which is worth up to $84 per year, but again, I don't really drink Dunkin' Donuts, so for me, that's a wash. So this is currently the only card that I know that gives you 4x back on all groceries, so that's why I make this my grocery card. But like I said, I'm always chasing a sign-up bonus for the most part, so all of my groceries, instead of going on here, are actually going on the Business Preferred right now. Even though I'm only getting 1 point per dollar spent, I'm still kind of reaching that minimum spend, which is a much better return versus getting 4x American Express points. So that's kind of the dilemma that I'm in with this card, because outside of that, it doesn't give me anything else. I might downgrade this to the green card and then actually get that clear credit. So at least I get some sort of value with the green card at $150 a year. I'll get that $190 clear credit per year, which at least I'll be able to use multiple times a year at airports. So for right now, this card is very rarely getting used, but once we do reach a minimum spend, and maybe there's a little bit of a hiatus between applying for cards, then I'll use this as my main grocery card to get those 4x points. And now we're getting a little bit farther into the weeds in terms of kind of niche products. This is the Chase Freedom Flex card, which I use pretty much on a quarterly basis. Basically, what's awesome about this card is that once every quarter, it'll rotate these categories where you get 5x back on every dollar spent, up to $1,500, which equates to either $75 cash back or 7,500 Chase Ultimate Reward points that you can then transfer over to something like your Chase Sapphire Reserve to then be able to transfer that out to partners. So as of right now, for quarter 3, the rotating categories are movie theaters, some sort of live entertainment, and then gas stations as well as EV charging. So for right now, we do drive an EV, but we charge at home, so I'm very rarely at public EV chargers, and I'm never at gas stations, so again, this card doesn't get used too much. But at least once a year for a quarter, this does become an actual grocery card for us because groceries becomes one of those categories, as well as Amazon sometimes, so we do use this card a decent amount during that time. And then my wife also has her own version of this card, meaning that we can accumulate these and get up to 15,000 points back on those rotating categories on a yearly basis. And then last but not least, we have to bring up the Bilt Card because this is the card that we use every single month, and we use it for paying rent to be able to accumulate points and also forego those surcharges to use a credit card while paying your rent. What I love about the Bilt Card is that you're able to use this to pay your rent, like I mentioned earlier, accumulate those points, and then you can actually transfer out to Hyatt as well. This is the only other card, aside from the Chase ecosystem, that allows you to transfer to Hyatt, which is my personal favorite way to use any of these kinds of points. And it also has some other awesome travel partners, but the key for this one is that you get to pay rent without accruing some sort of charge after the fact, because most of the time when you pay rent and you pay with a credit card, you have to pay some sort of fee, whether it's a 2 or 3% fee or some sort of flat fee, and it does end up getting expensive and then not worth it. This allows you to kind of forego that fee and be able to accumulate points for your rent payment. One little caveat with this is that you do have to use your card at least 5 times outside of the rent payment to be able to accumulate those points. So throughout the month, we'll put like tiny little charges just to get it to be able to have those 5 transactions and then accumulate those Bilt points. And again, this is a 0 fee card, and this is the only 0 fee card that I personally know that as a standalone card can transfer out to travel partners. Every other card that I've seen elsewhere needs to have at least some sort of annual fee card like the Business Preferred or the Chase Sapphire Preferred, or like I said, the American Express Gold card, or even the Capital One Venture card at $95. So a 0 fee annual card to kind of get you into this travel world game and get you that travel bug is definitely worth it, especially if you're paying rent. Outside of that, you also get 3x back on dining, so this could be a great dining card because, like I said, it does transfer to Hyatt, so they are very valuable. And then once a month on rent day, which is the first of every month, it doubles. So you get up to 6x back on dining, which I love to see. But that is everything that I have in my wallet. Like I mentioned, for the most part, we are usually chasing some sort of sign-up bonus, and when we are doing that, we are moving every single dollar spent, aside from rent. We're moving everything over to that card to make sure that we meet that minimum spend, and then we also could technically put rent on there if we are having trouble reaching that minimum spend, but I have been able to avoid that at all costs because I don't want to kind of get that $150 or $200 fee to use another credit card aside from my Bilt Card to accumulate points to reach some sort of minimum spend. But if we're not chasing those minimum spends, then you see the categories that we have. The Gold Card is for groceries, Chase Sapphire Reserve is for dining, the Capital One Venture X is for all other purchases at 2x back, and then for rotating categories, I like to use a Chase Freedom Flex card. But that'll do it for this video, everybody. Let me know in the comment down below if you like these types of videos. I love watching these types of videos because I like to see what people are doing, how people are maximizing points, and making sure that they're getting at least 1.5x points per dollar spent. I try to avoid it at all costs to get less than that because there's no reason why we shouldn't be getting that. But that'll do it for this video, everybody. If you did enjoy it, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so I know you made it to the end. And if you want to watch more videos like this one, definitely check out one of these videos right here because I'm excited that we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. So I appreciate all the love. We've been able to build a nice little community, and I just plan on kind of keeping up with this stuff to really maximize our points and share my journey on this credit card world. But that'll do it, everybody. Peace.